Hey, we're just at one of our HMO projects. This is a new one that we purchased a couple of months ago now that we've had this. We're doing a renovation on it. So let's go on in and we'll talk about what we're doing here, why we're here and what we're trying to achieve here as well.
And we'll show you some of the challenges we've had with it already.
There's always plenty of challenges. Come on through.
Go on through. After you.
So this one's a 6-bedroom HMO, 6 en suites in Birmingham. It's actually already an existing HMO. And we purchased this because the seller was having some challenges. They had some problems with the previous tenants that were here. Also, changes in terms of taxation was causing them a lot of pain. High interest rates, so they wanted to get out of this particular property. And it's a location that we've got quite a few properties in. But what we're doing here is a little bit different from what we ordinarily do, because normally what we do, we renovate these, we get them up and running, producing a really high income, and then we keep them. But actually, we're going through a period now where what we're doing, getting these set up and then we're selling them as well, because we think there's a great opportunity. We can't buy and keep everything. So we think there's a great opportunity right now to turn some of these tired HMOs around into fantastic, high quality ones, like the ones that we normally would have, that we have in our portfolio.
What we're doing here is actually, we're not going back to brick as we typically would. It's more a case of a remodernization. So what's happening here really, the core thing was to redecorate it, put nice feature walls in, make it like, change all the faces for the sockets, switches, new lights, new blinds. What we ended up doing, we actually ended up changing all the windows throughout as well because they weren't in the best condition. And things that we've kind of had to spend a bit more money on, which wasn't all fully foreseen up front, was a lot of the bits around the electrics, wiring and the plumbing, because a lot of that hasn't been quite.
Maybe let's have a look at some of the plumbing. So these en suites are not maybe big enough for both of us to squeeze in.
So what we're doing actually is we've ripped out all the previous shower trays, toilets, sinks, etc. So the guys are now retiling the bathrooms, all the en suites. We're putting obviously new trays. We're waiting for all the toilets and sinks to arrive. So all the bathroom suites will be brand new effectively. The layout's a bit more different than what we'd normally go for. So it's a little bit more tricky for us to actually work with these because they're quite small spaces and they're not necessarily laid out in the most convenient way, but we'll make them work pretty well just so because we're trying to keep our costs sensible and not having to rebuild all the studs and everything.
I guess we could literally gut it and redo it completely different, but it doesn't make economic sense to do that because the infrastructure is already there, the basic layout is there. But as we've started working, we're finding the electrics are not good, the plumbing's not good, the heating's not good, windows are no good, so we're changing all those things as well whilst we're here anyway.
What we'll do is we'll show you in the kitchen because that's the second room. They're all the same pretty much, but the problems we had in the kitchen, originally we said, okay, the kitchen units are pretty good, so let's change the splashback tiles. And once the team started taking down the splashback tiles, in particularly on this wall, what has happened is we've noticed that, first of all, the units haven't actually been fitted really well because everything was kind of, moving. It wasn't really fixed to the wall appropriately. And as the guys were taking down the splashback tiles, all the plasterboard started kind of almost coming off the walls. So I said to the guys, okay, let's just take all the kitchen out. Let's just kind of see what's happening here. Once they took the kitchen off, all the plasterboard pretty much started coming off the walls. And okay, so like obviously that side of things we had to reboard. But once the plasterboards came off the walls, the problem we saw was actually that all the wiring hasn't really been done
quite poorly,
to the legal standards.
Yes. We'll try and see if we can find little video photos. We'll include them
we'll probably drop a few bits in. So we had to get our electricians come through and actually run full new cabling from the consumer unit. We've obviously changed the new consumer unit. So all the kitchen has literally been
upgraded
rewired
the electrics
fully. And now we're gonna look at refitting the existing units that they're gonna be cleaned up. Some of the few bits will be changed. We'll put new worktops in, new splashback tiles. So it'll be effectively like a new kitchen then at that point.
Be nice. I guess this is a classic example of as soon as you touch one thing, that starts falling apart. You try fixing that, something else falls apart because everything is just about kind of held together. And as soon as you touch anything, it just falls apart. And then you have to draw a line and okay, let's get the core things done. Let's make sure everything's solid. Because at the end of the day, we want it to run as a really good property. We don't want it causing problems. And one of the reasons in our own properties that we spend so much money on setting them up and getting them ready is because they're almost like brand new properties. They cause very little problem going forward. They run smoothly. And we were trying to create something similar here without spending that sort of money.
Some of the challenges here as well has been the plumbing, because a lot of the bits, there's a lot of leaks. The bathrooms weren't really done, sealed off correctly. So there's been a lot of leaks in the ceilings above one of the bathrooms, and some of the connections actually had little leaks as well. So they were like dripping very slowly, nothing really noticeable, but they were kind of causing problems long term in the house. So we had to kind of swap some of the joists out. We had to sort out some of the other leaks, and when we had our plumbers come through, they actually had to run all the new hot and cold connection points pretty much.
Let's have a look at these. Maybe in one of the other bathrooms we can see some of the challenges. So in fact, we have a number of these projects. We've just completed another one where we've picked up the keys. Well, I say picked up the keys, there were literally no locks on the doors on that one. We'll show you a bit more about that one towards the end. That's 8 apartments that we're doing there.
So we're actually very excited about that one. So make sure
that's a nice project. And I guess like this was the tank that we had in this particular property. This is for 6 bathroom. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I guess the slightly sad thing is the person we bought this from is a really nice person, but they've clearly been taken advantage of by their builder who did the works here. There's a lot of shoddy work, very poor quality. And as soon as we start trying to improve one thing, we see the level of problems that exist.
The thing here is that on the face of it, it all looked fine.
Yes.
But the minute you start taking things apart and looking at it, see that the things like all the plumbing and the electrics, and I mean, as an example here, we've got the door frames. This was a simple, obviously, door frame fitted for the ensuite. Joking apart, it was holding on 2 nails and the cock around the architraves.
Yeah.
Like literally.
You might as well use a piece of sellotape to hold up the door frame. That's literally.
So it was doing the job for a bit, obviously. But as you can see, these are the kind of bathrooms. So
we're refitting these now, and this simple tiles, marble effect that we're using in all of them, just to create that modern look.
And again, you know, in all of our projects, we normally go for larger tower trays. It normally is about a 900 by a 900 or a 1200 by a 900, you know. But here we're working with existing space, so this is like an 800 by an 800, which they're still okay.
Yeah, so the chimney breast is still here. Ordinarily, we take the chimney breast out, we create a bit more space. The doors here, so we're limited in terms of layout, what we can work with. So we're not changing the layout. We're keeping all the en-suites where they are. We're keeping all the rooms where they are, and effectively just changing all the electrics, the plumbing, the heating.
But what we'll focus on here really is the design element of things. So we'll make this stand out, and obviously we'll come back and film once it's fully finished.
Yes.
So the main thing here is like all the features and the elements will make it feel bigger than it is. We'll make it like really pop and stand out.
And that will all be the decor, basically, how it's presented.
Yeah.
Let's go up and look at another room, and then we'll talk about the numbers, the figures, what we spent on this.
Well, we can go into the loft, because that's a nice room there as well.
So we're in the attic room right now. These are generally the really nice, spacious rooms in these houses. They can turn into really beautiful apartment-style rooms in some of these cases. So we're going to do the best we can here. Let's talk about the numbers then. So we paid $250 for this one. Yep. We've got about 50-ish grand in terms of costs. That includes the stamp duty, purchase costs, how much we're spending on the property. We're keeping it on a tight budget.
So
there's so much more we could spend, but it's not going to make sense to
for example, you know, even here we could probably put a Velux window. We could do all the other bits, but then we need scaffolding, all the other elements. It's going to rack up the costs.
Starts adding up. And for the location for where it is, it'll still be a very nice property. It'll be amongst the nicest properties around here.
Definitely.
And that will enable us to rent it, one, very easily, and secondly, at a really premium rents, which is what we like to achieve. We're trying to achieve the best rents we can in the marketplace by providing a nice quality product. And ultimately, then after spending about 300,000, we'll probably get close to about 400 in terms of a valuation, because the valuation won't be based on necessarily the works that we've done, but the income that we're generating on this property. And then you know, we'll run it for a few months, make sure it's all running smoothly, and then we'll sell. So hey, so if you're in the market for a great HMO, make sure you ping us a message. And our intention is to do a few of these over this year, because we think it's a great opportunity. And one of the things in the market is it's constantly changing and evolving. And what we will do, we will adapt very slightly to whatever's going on in the market. We still will want to keep properties in our portfolio as well, but we think it's a nice time at the moment to create some of these to sell as well. Hey, this is our latest acquisition. We just completed on this one last week. It's this corner plot here, runs from that yellow house over there over to that new property. It's that corner plot, and we've got planning permission to build 8 apartments here.
Yeah, so we're actually going to be doing part demolition, part new build. So it's going to be quite a lot of works happening there. It'll probably take us, you know, around a year, a little bit more than that. And it's going to be just under 5,000 square feet, and it's going to be 8 one-bedroom apartments. So really exciting.
Probably worth about 1.2 million once it's complete, thereabouts. And if you're enjoying this content, you want to watch some more content, particularly around this particular project, make sure you drop us a like on the video. Also put us a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we'll get some more videos on this project and others to you.